Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Eros and I am the Told Maker. As you guessed from the title, today we are continuing in our series all about the planets, talking about the moon. Of course, as always, we will not take into consideration every single possible correspondence of the moon. We are taking into consideration those correspondences that, at least I think, in my personal experience, will give you a better feel, a better understanding of the sensation that the energy sphere of the moon, the energetical sphere of the moon, should suggest you. Now, without further ado, let's start with the correspondence of the moon with our subconscious mind. Subconscious is about intuition, our intuition, and the dark part of our mind, the receptive, the feminine part of our mind, in a sense, if you want, is the part of our mind that makes our sigils, our mantras, our manifestation, and our affirmations work. Is an extremely powerful part of our mind. It's the part of our mind that we use for the, if you want, heavy lifting in our magical practice. Is a part of our mind that is core for our mindset, especially through the forging of habits, but also for our magic and our magical practice. Then the second correspondence that we will take in consideration for the moon are emotions. For example, as you may have heard before, someone who is not in control of his or her emotion is called a lunatic. And we all know how much the lunar cycle influences our emotion, alters our emotion. To make a easy example, we all know how much the menstrual cycle can influence the emotion of someone. Then, in Italian, we sometimes say having a luna storta, which is pretty much a moon in the wrong position, which is a way of saying that I woke up with the moon in the wrong position, so my emotions are altered. To make another analogy, to make another example. So, what it's trying to tell us is that we need to be, what she's trying to tell us is that we need to be in control of our emotion and not controlled by our emotion. Listening carefully to our emotion, to what we feel, to better understand our emotions and our motivation, and never to be a slave controlled by our emotions. Then, the third correspondence that we will take into consideration for the moon are illusions. Recognizing illusions, gaining the ability to recognize illusions, avoid illusions, especially illusions that we come across through our perception, through errors in our perception, but also, if we need to do so, induce illusions into others, if we are forced to do so. Because we need to understand that we all live into a reality of perception. We perceive the world through our senses. We are, in a sense, trapped in the cage of our personal perception. And we need to be extremely careful to balance our emotions with our analysis and with the analysis of the facts that we observe to avoid illusions. Also, we need to remember that others are always looking at us with a distorted perception. They do not have the same perception as ourselves. Then, what's the teaching? The main teaching of the moon is clarity. So, we need to understand that we look at our reality through a distorted mirror, a looking glass, if you want. So, this mirror is different for everyone. We need to listen to our emotions while also observing facts and analyzing facts, while also understanding that everyone has a different perspective on things. And this allows us for a better understanding of others and for a better understanding of ourselves and our subconscious. The object that, of course, is best representative of the moon is the mirror. We perceive everything through our senses. We may even say that everyone holds a mirror, even a distorted mirror, to observe reality in front of him or herself. So, we need to understand that the glass of our mirror is bent. What we perceive is not necessarily objective reality. Look at the distortion. Look at the ways that distort reality to predict possibilities and not to be a slave to your perception. So, in this sense, of course, we can clearly understand that the moon is directly connected not only to our subconscious, but also through our subconscious to our capability of divination. Then, as always, we will take into consideration two personality traits, two archetypes, if you allow me to do so. One is the positive aspect of the moon, and one is the dark side of the moon, is a negative trait. So the positive one in this case will be the artist, and the negative one in this case will be the madman. Now, the artist is the archetype that makes things shine, makes things important, gives importance to things, while on the opposite side, the madman is obsessed by futile things, irrelevant things, or small things. The artist is the archetype that transmits perception, while the madman is trapped in perception, in his or her perception, and only that one. In a sense, we may say that the artist is exploring Wonderland, while the obsessed, the madman, is lost into Wonderland. The artist almost, we may almost say that can foresee the future, is the future, foresee the future of his or her generation, while the madman is unable to plan and is only trapped in him or herself. Now, in this analysis, we must always remember, in this case, that the line between genius and madness is a very thin line. So we are always dancing upon this line. We need to never get lost and never fall if we want to remain stable. Now, as always, we will start with a few direct, straight correspondences. For the moon, the color will be silver, but white works extremely well. The day of the week related to the moon is Monday, and the card in a tarot deck best related to the moon is the High Priestess. The metal, either alchemically but also physical, related to the moon is silver, and in a zodiacal sense, the sign that is always related to the moon, corresponding to the moon, is Cancer. If you like to work with crystals, in my personal experience, I recommend to you selenite, quartz of any sort, and of course moonstone. Now, for the plants, some of those that we've seen before and some new others, they are not all the plants related to the moon, but these are the ones that I think will be readily available to you. We will start with hibiscus, jasmine, tobacco, lemon balm or sweet balm, depending on how you want to call this herb, raspberry, camellia, coconut, water lily. If you like to work with trees, I suggest that you work with willow, but you may also want to work with lotus, moonwort, of course, papaya, and Cape jasmine. Now, I hope this video was helpful to you to get a better feel, a better understanding of the energy that the sphere of the moon should transmit to you in your magical practice. I hope I will see you in the next video, and thanking you as always for your extremely kind attention. May eternal lights shine upon you.